Hello and welcome to Nigeria Now on Echo Television International, where we keep you updated with all that is happening, some of the stories that are actually born in Nigeria at the moment. Quite a lot to actually look into today, and we hope that you sit tight as we actually go through some of the events that are unfolding, some of the issues, and then how we can actually see recommendations for a better Nigeria. Remember, we're live on Facebook and on YouTube. You can do well to follow us live, be part of the conversation by dropping your comment, dropping your thought of any of the story or any of the conversation we're having here in the studio. I'm Sarah Elisha, and I'll be doing this together with Jamira Emmanuel. Good afternoon, Jamira.
Good afternoon.
You might seem so excited. It's been a while. All right, let us dive straight into the conversation. Quite a lot to actually look into. Just yesterday, we saw where the World Trade Organization DG, in person of Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, was with the president yesterday, and they were looking at some very burning issues, especially in regard to the hardship Nigerians are going through, looking at the economy. Not only Nigerians in the country, but even Nigerians outside the country are actually complaining of hardship. I think about 2 weeks or so, we saw the papers where parents whose word are schooling abroad were calling on the Nigerian government to please come and intervene, because tuition fees actually getting on them over there, and then quite a lot. And of course, you will agree with me that ever since we had the removal of the first subsidy, Nigerians have been actually lamenting a lot of hardship. Just recently, we've seen the inflation rate has gone higher. Talking about monetary policy, interest even in banks, if you want to borrow money, has been increased. And then quite a lot. In fact, recently, just yesterday, we saw where even tenants actually complaining there is a hike. So you will agree with me that a lot of hardship is actually going on. And even though she clearly stated that it wasn't really an official visit, but then she felt it was important that she met with the president and discussed some of the long-term and also short-term policy that they are hoping to put in place to see how the president can come and intervene to actually will I say cushion the effect of the hardship on Nigerians presently.
Well, from the things she said, she talked about investment, how the country can invest in long-term goals. She talked about women, helping women and children that are going through a lot. Basically, how to help to reduce this hardship that we are talking about. And I think is a very good kickstart. Knowing that the visit was even unofficial, it means that it was a burden in her heart, in her mind, that she wanted to see that something good came out of it, something good would happen from that. And I feel that is an encouragement for we in the country, for the government as well, for the leaders as well. Since someone is bringing a burden of such and he's talking about it, I think is to give us an encouragement that something good will come out of it from
of
all
course,
that they talked about.
She also mentioned the fact, just like you said, looking at some of the goals they are hoping.
Yes.
I know one of which she mentioned was the fact of relating with the grassroots women and children especially. And if anybody will cast their mind back to the promises the president made when he was being sworn in, he said he was going to make sure that the youth, the women and the children are actually carried along in his administration, because over the years we've seen women have been canvassing for more positions, especially when you look at the parliament. Women are really being sidelined there. They don't really have the opportunity. But we've seen that especially when it comes to businesses, you will agree with me that youth and the women are mostly, even the men are into all the small and medium enterprises. So it's important that they see how they'll be able to invest in it. And I love the fact that not only was she part of the meeting, we also saw Ali Pati, part of those who were also talking, looking at some of the steps the president is looking into it, because it looks as if the president has been quiet for a very long period of time. And then especially if you're going to cast our mind to even the number of ministers, Nigerians are like, when we're saying things are hard, we're saying let the government cut down cost of governance, and then we're seeing them having quite a number of ministers, making comparison to the last administration where the President Muhammadu Buhari then had about 44 ministers, and the presently we're seeing that about 40 48 were nominated, but 45 is being used. So looking at some of the things he said in his last speech to Nigerians, looking at some of the terms, long-term goals, and Nigerians complain that why don't we have something short-term that can relate with Nigerians immediately.
Yes.
But she mentioned the fact that the World Trade Organization is also looking at some of the steps they can come into. Ali Patti also mentioned the fact that they also want to look into even the health sector.
Yes.
Because this is a sector over the years we've seen that a lot of sectors are being neglected. I'm going to talk about let's even leave the health sector at one hand, because we will be looking at it when we look into other issues of the resident doctors.
Yes.
But let's also look into the issue of textile industry. You will agree with me that our industry has been shut down.
Exactly.
Recently, we saw them even, coming out to protest, saying the fact that that industry has been neglected.
Yes.
And I think it's high time, part of reviving the economy of Nigeria, let us look into some of the sectors that have been neglected. We're talking about a lot of resources that Nigerians are yet to tap into, the riches, the wealth that are in that industry. We have the agric industry, for instance, the agric sector, which is a sector that anytime I get opportunity to talk, I say this is a sector that is not really being tapped as it should be, because this is a sector that if the government of Nigeria will give it attention. I kept asking this question and I need answers from the government, the fact that why neglect a sector that over the years, for each time this country gets into recession, agri sector was the sector that always come through. But then we've been giving so much attention to the oil, and right now that the subsidy is out, we are complaining. So I think beyond just the words, Nigerians are hoping that yes, in as much as Ngozi Ojo-Iweala is familiar with what is happening, because she was a minister of finance one time, so she knows the way things are working. I hope that beyond the words, beyond the table, beyond the meeting that they had, we'll see steps being followed. Women will be carried along, industries, sectors that have been neglected for a period of time, we'll see it being revived, because really it's high time that we do something, because the way things are moving, if something is not being done, Nigerians are really going to be, suffering, and the poverty rate is going to keep getting higher and higher. So
and
I'm
if
happy
we
of that.
all get carried along, the hardships will reduce. We will be able to fend for ourselves and help others as well. Imagine those that are not even in Nigeria also struggling. So imagine how much we are struggling in our own country. So if all of this will be taken into consideration with all seriousness, it will reduce the level of hardship that we all are going through, and we'll all have better lives.
Well, Jemima, just like she said that the president is aware of the hardship of Nigerians, I truly hope that he is aware and that he'll step into the shoes of Nigerians, and that he would do something, let Nigerians know that truly he's out to actually help Nigerians. Since she said, I believe Nigerians are going to take her word for it, because she is one person that have provided solutions when it comes to the economy of Nigeria, how the economy can be better. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we hope that beyond just the talk, we'll see the walk talking the talk. And they're still talking about the issue of looking at certain sectors that should be looking to, I think, the health sector, which I said we'll be talking about. Recently, we saw our resident doctors from July 25th, where they gave a circular saying the fact that they are going on strike. And they were supposed to have a protest today, which they suspended because they had a meeting with the Senate president yesterday. So they suspend the protest, but they are still on strike. And it breaks my heart, because the number of ailments we're seeing, we've seen a lot of disease outbreaks coming up. I'm going to talk about that of the malaria. I'm going to talk about that of anthrax that is there because you cannot consume certain livestock. You have to be careful of the meat you buy. I'm going to be even talking about certain illnesses that are even unknown. I think in a few weeks back, we saw where some certain illness killed people in Kaduna. And then we saw even that of the diphtheria disease that is present. A number of the cases are becoming higher and higher by the day. And the government are coming out to tell the resident doctors to please go back. Nigerians are dying. And I said something earlier during dailies. I said, to me, the government knows what these people need. So why not just see what you can do to actually meet up, some of the things they said. And I think,
turning a blind eye.
And I think there are some of the demands they made, which I'd like to, take a little of it, Jemima, was the fact that they came out with a circular saying that they need to do more employment because of the issue of brain drain, that we are having reduced doctors. We don't have enough doctors. I think the last time we saw was the fact that we had about 10,000 patients to a doctor. But Gemma, you agree with me that ever since with the brain drain, we keep having doctors leaving Nigeria. Possibly, maybe if we take another statistics right now, we'll hear that maybe we're having over 20,000 patients to a doctor. And I think the government really, really needs to intervene fast before something gets out of hand. It broke my heart the other day. I was in one of those public hospitals, and I was shocked to see that it was on key and lock where you were supposed to see the doctors. And you and I will agree that very few Nigerians can afford to see a private doctor.
Yes.
So I think the government really needs to come through, need to intervene. Yes, the protest is on hold, but the strike is still ongoing. So what can we now do henceforth? I kept asking this question. Are we just going to always resolve into strike? Is there no way out for things to be solved in this country? Must we see doctors, must we see teachers, must we see labor union threatening a strike before certain things or certain actions will be taken to actually see that we revive this sector, the health sector, because it's very, very key to the economy of Nigeria?
And I feel that anything that has to do with life shouldn't be taken lightly, because these lives of people matter a lot. If you don't have people in the country, then there's no point of you being a leader in the first place. You need to have citizens that are looking up to you, and you are constantly coming through for them. So doctors are people that we seriously need in our country, and we constantly need them to go to hospitals and take care of patients. One way or the other, you would fall sick. One way or the other, your family people would fall sick. It's not something you totally have any control over. So this issue of resident doctors should be taken seriously as a country by our leaders, because life is something that needs to be taken very seriously. I think they should really look into this. Although they suspended that, but they are still on strike, and something more can be done if their demands are not being met. So they shouldn't feel like they are just being left off the hook like that.
Of course, Jemima, it's quite it's worrisome. Like, it's really something that every Nigerian should be worried about. A committee has been set to look into this issue. I remember a day before the strike, they had a meeting with the Speaker of the House of Reps, and then the Speaker made mention of the fact that they are just coming into power. Time should be given to them. But we know the way things are. As a leader, or when you come into power, you inherit both the good and the bad, and it's expected of you to address some of the issues that were pending before the past administration, stepped down. So I think this is not just an issue that the doctors are bringing this year. This is an issue that has been pending. Yes. I'm going to be even looking at their hazard allowances. You and I will agree that there are certain illnesses that the doctors, one of the pledge they have, or one of the oaths they have taken, is to protect lives of people, patients. So in regard of your religion, in regard of your ethnicity, your tribe, they do not care. Their number one, job, the oath they took, is make sure they protect, save lives at the end of the day. And in the process of trying to save life, they have lost their lives. Also, I'm going to talk about number of medical practitioners that died because of maybe Lassa fever, which we know is communicable. We had cases of Ebola where we lost the doctor as a result of that. So a number of communicable diseases have taken the lives of this doctor, and they are canvassing for, the allowances of their hazard allowance. So I think the government really, really needs to intervene. Enough of the talks, enough of the roundtable, enough of the dialogue. Action. It's time to work.
Trying to save lives, they are putting their own lives at risk.
So it's very, very paramount, it's very, very important that the government realize that, in as much as you are understanding and you are pleading with these people to go back and work, we don't want to have the case of the ASU, where we saw that till they are yet to get their pay for 8 months for staying back. And if you look at the reason why they went on that strike, it is actually very justable. They had a just case to actually go on that strike. Same thing with the doctors. They have a just reason why they are on strike. Some of them have reasons why they have left the shores of Nigeria. We have countries that actually make money, make revenue out of their doctors that are working out elsewhere because they generate revenue to the country. But I do not know the case of Nigeria. But we're not here to, backlash our government totally, but to, bring to the light certain things that has been left unattended to. It's high time we attend to this sector. The health sector is very important. Education sector is very important, because no wonder, there was a time on the paper where we saw a number of patients that kept dying as a result of carelessness coming from our medical practitioners. I wouldn't talk about the nurses, the midwives, or the doctors. Why? Because certain things that are supposed to be given to them are not given. The hands are short. So you see a doctor already exhausted and tired, and before he attends to a patient, wrong diagnoses are being given at the end of the day. Some of our hospitals, you can't even, if you are supposed to be on admission, patient prefer to go back home because of the state of the hospital.
You get sicker while you are in the hospital. While you're supposed to get better, you get worse because of the treatment and many other things that are in the hospital. People prefer to stay in their own homes, which is not right. You should rush to the hospital to get better, not to get worse.
Not to get worse. But over the years, we've seen that the reverse is the case. So we hope that with all of the things that are being tabled to the federal government, they will attend to this issue. Let's not just focus on one thing and forget that there are other things that actually need attention. For every time we have a budget, there's a particular allocation that's been given to this sector. But maybe we have to see a review of that allocation being given to the sector. Maybe something more needs to be done so that we can see that our hospitals are being fixed. Nigerians have come out to say that sometimes we even see where our leaders prefer to be treated abroad. And then what is painful about the whole thing, Jemima, is the fact that the doctors that treat them abroad are Nigerians. So why not fix the health sector here so they come back
from it here?
So why go and reach another economy? Because there was a time that looking at the money we spend when it comes to health tourism abroad, it's really, really mind-blowing. You wonder, why do we keep enriching other nations when it comes to the health sector, and then we play a blind eye to our own health sector here? So I hope to see the government, taking up the lead by doing something important, especially when it comes to fixing our hospitals, paying our doctors their hazard allowances, and then let us see that more doctors are being employed to actually take over from those who have retired or those who have left, the shores of Nigeria to go abroad.
Priority to things that matters most.
Very, very important,
Yes.
Jemima, giving priority to that. And so just for us to, let's look at the last issue before we close for today, is a case of the ECOWAS. It has been coming up, Niger coup. I mean, since the 26th of July, when the coups actually took over Niger Republic, it has been really, really making it on the papers, making it on social media, making it rounds, because we are aware that our president is the chairman of ECOWAS, so it's expected that he take the lead to make sure that things are working as they should be. We've seen where Middle Belt Forum came out and told him that, why don't you focus on your nation? Why you focus on ECOWAS? But you can't expect him to totally turn a blind eye to something that he is the chairman. Of course, tomorrow they are supposed to have a meeting in regards to the reason, or see how military can intervene to see what can be done. But we saw recently, the coup is there in Niger Republic, even turned down delegations that were being sent from the US, the UN, and then AU, people who were trying to, see the leader of the coup, let us have a talk and see what can be done. But they refused him. So quite a lot, when you look at this, in a way it can actually affect the country, because it breaks my heart, because these are most of the countries that we've seen going on coup are mostly West African countries. And the president came out to say that there is going to be a sanction for those who are actually supporting them, whether it's individuals, entity. They have even given the order to the CBN to actually check those people who are actually, supporting them. I've seen the likes of Burkina Faso, Mali, and many other people that are supporting that they will actually face the full sanction coming from ECOWAS. So quite a lot when it comes to the issue of this coup, and we are not strangers to it because we once had one here in Nigeria. So we actually know how ugly this whole thing can turn out to be.
Well, I feel that the president should do what he needs to do, which is right, and then eventually everything else would fall in place. Whichever country is supporting, whichever is not, if you are doing the right thing, I think that is all that matters. Just like we spoke about in our own country, giving priority to the best is what that matters most.
Well, you know, the issue of coup is really, really, because it just brought my mind back to the one we had in Nigeria before. We knew how it was bloody. It was really, you can't say it's a bloodless coup, even though there are people who are rejoicing over it. But then, basically, people suffer at the end of it, because you know what it means when the military are in power. It's really, really no freedom of speech, movement. There are certain things, as the press, there are certain things you can say, there are certain things you can do. So right now, the entire world are trying to see how they can intervene, but it seems as if it's not really going as it should be. So I think it's high time that the entire West African countries, ECOWAS, let's say the meeting that will be holding tomorrow, which is Thursday, and then how they can intervene, even though a lot of people are being saying Nigeria shouldn't really interfere in what is happening there. But then let us just see what the president, as the chairman of ECOWAS, feels about this coup, and then we just hope that eventually things will work out well, because the number of people in the IDP, there are over 100,000 already in the IDP, so you know what that means, right? And then especially looking at states that are close to the Niger Republic in Nigeria, somehow can actually get affected and all of that. So we hope that this will open our eyes to our own terrorism we're facing here in the country, and then how we'll be able to fix it and see that things work out as they should be, and will not just leave our country in the hands of other people who have sworn that Nigeria will have peace, just the way we're having that of Niger. So we look forward to seeing better things being put in place, better steps being taken to avoid coup from happening. Rumors or whatever, this is not really something that should actually happen in any country whatsoever. But then we look forward to seeing steps. So right now, all we just have to let our viewers know is that we'll just keep them updated. However the meeting goes tomorrow, we hope that things will work out well. And we just hope that the country, Niger, will actually have its peace back, have its president back, because right now the president has been locked in the presidential palace to protect him from anything whatsoever that happens. So right now, the eyes of the entire world is see what the meeting is going to look like, and then we hope that things will work out well at the end of the day. All right, thanks so much, Jimmy, for doing this with me, and thank you to our viewers for making it a date with us on Nigerian Now. Until we come here again tomorrow, do have a blessed afternoon.